Just try the Kool-Aid. Go talk to your bishop. Go to church, pray, and read the Book of Mormon. Blah, 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 blah. I was right. That's what he said. So I figured, what is there to lose? Go talk to this stranger. Tell him I was going to watch my young family starve and see what happens. The Mormons were happy to help. As soon as I provided my paycheck stub for the last 6 months and got caught up on my tithing I owed as a member for that same amount of time, I agreed, paid the money they wanted over the next 3 weeks' income, and they gave me food, as long as I paid, just enough to get us through until the next check, and then the next tithe came in. I realized after about a month I was just being extorted by a religion. I quit going, paying, and collecting. Ironically, about this time, DB showed up on my doorstep. We had moved 65 miles away, and this dude comes knocking right after my first kid is born and needs a place to live again. Being the nice guy I am, and needing some possible financial help, I agreed with Elsie and let him move in. Again. He was there for about 2 months, and when I asked him for the 2 months of rent, he disappeared. Shocking. Now I was really in a pickle. Go to college for free, make good money, see the world. Started to sound really good at this point. It was 2005. 9/11 was still hot on the lips of the American prostitute media, and I was a warm-blooded, soon-to-be starving, suffering American patriot. It was my duty to protect my country and leave my family behind to do so. I'd been talking to a recruiter at the mall during my part-time shifts at night. He had me all amped up to be a bullet sponge for the Army military industrial machine of the United States. I was going to get a huge sign-on bonus and make enough money to get whatever I wanted. I would travel the world on the expenses of Uncle Sam and would drag my family along for the 3 year torturous ride of the Army experience. That's what they should say to you. They don't. I went. I signed my name on the dotted line and left everyone I knew behind. I made it through one of the toughest Army basic trainings in the country, Fort Benning, Georgia. 9 weeks of grueling training, screaming, pushed to your limits day in and day out. Sleep deprivation, food deprivation, water deprivation. They beat you down to the garbage you are and build you back up into a killing machine. It was effective, to say the least. I went through days of physical training, mental training, and classroom training. All the rumors you hear about the training are true. You get up early, 3:30 most days, then you don't get to go to bed until 2100. With that 6.5 hour block, you rotate through a 60-minute fire watch post with your company bunkmates. Some nights you had to wake up at a random hour to post guard, others you got to sleep through the night. It was about every third day you'd have to post guard, unless someone decided to go home, was discharged, or was in the infirmary. I went in at a chubby 214 pounds and came out 185 pounds of unbridled rage machine. I was expertly trained to operate under pressure and be able to control extreme situations. Uncle Sam taught me how to bottle my rage up until trauma triggered it and then release it all at once. This demon rears its head to this day. I have a very long fuse. I can bottle up my frustration and anger for a very long time, months if needed. But once that fuse is triggered, for whatever small or large reason, I start seeing my vision close in and my blood literally tingles in my veins as it heats up. It's taken me almost 20 years to dial in on this feeling and be able to control it to the point I can remove myself from whatever situation is setting me off. I've been triggered by things as small as my child, age appropriately, misbehaving, or things as severe as road rage while operating an 80,000-pound commercial vehicle. We finished up the last week of basic training and headed to our AIT training station, mine being in Texas. The night we rolled in, they chose me and 3 others out of the busload of 45 and pulled us to the side. Our MOS, or the job we'd wanted to train for, was and had been discontinued and absolved by another department of the Army 2 weeks before we started basic training. The recruiters were supposed to have called us back in and had us reselect a different job before we left for basic. We were all to choose different jobs in the morning, 0600 sharp, and redirect in 7 days for training. I was bummed. I was supposed to be running with the Bradley unit, blowing shit up, according to my recruiter. I called home right then. It was 0300 in Utah, and Elsie was barely conscious, or had just passed out from her standard drunken state. I have to pick a new job, babe. I have three options, and one is the needs of the Army. That put me on the front lines. What do you think we should do? I said. The other two choices weren't prime either. One was a truck driver hauling fuel, and the other was listed as Patriot Missile Systems Launch Pad Specialist, or 14 Tango for short. I found out after I got out, it was also basically a glorified truck driver. Long and short, I lost it a little upstairs when she said, "You can go, but I'm not leaving my family and friends behind. Don't plan on ever seeing your son again. He won't even know who you are, and I'll make sure of it." That was the woman I chose to marry, the mother of my first child, the woman I was faithful to and loved. I lost it a little bit. A few walls were built.